Hey guys, and welcome back to Elley Knows Rocks. I am standing at the home site of the Black Pearl Mine outside of Baghdad, Arizona. This was an old tungsten mine. So today we're gonna look for blue microcline. We're gonna look for some pyrite. We're gonna check out the head frame. This guy's over 70 feet tall. The ore chute. This ore chute is one of the best in-shape ore chutes I have ever seen at an abandoned mine before. There's some old buildings and a little adit that's still here. So thank you so much for being part of my adventure. And let's go see what we find. This is what we're looking for today, the home site of the Black Pearl Mine. And like most journeys, this one starts on a dirt road. Taking my trusty side-by-side on this little dirt road from Baghdad, Arizona, all the way to the Black Pearl Mine. Now the map makes it look a lot longer than it is. In all reality, it's about a 35-minute side-by-side drive. You can take other modes of transportation to get here, but honestly, for us, the side-by-side makes it the most convenient. Sometimes this stream bed is full, which is pretty cool to go through water, but it gets pretty rocky pretty quick, and we have taken a pickup truck all the way to the area where the rocks start to get super bumpy, but it's not comfortable, and usually we have to park and walk a long ways. There are all kinds of cattle gates along the way. If you go through them, please keep them closed. It is a privilege for us to be able to go up here, so we don't want to piss off the ranchers. So this is more of that tough road that I was talking about. It looks okay and pretty fast on the side-by-side, but you can zoom through it in one of these things. But the road gets real bumpy real quick. Now, while we're driving along here, I'm going to talk to you just a little bit about the Black Pearl Mine. The elevation here is around 5,700 feet. The Black Pearl Mine is primarily a tungsten mine. However, they also got secondary semi-precious gemstones out of this. And of course they had quartz, but they had copper, bismuth, beryllium, fluorite, and fluorine, gold, silver, and molybdenum. This was of course considered an underground mine. The mine also goes by two names, the Black Pearl name as the primary name, and Campwood Tungsten Mine as a secondary name. The Black Pearl was first discovered in 1914 and first put into production in 1915. This was a vein ore type, and they were following the pegmatites in the area. And a pegmatite is just a fancy word for rocks that have really big crystals that have formed. Now, this mine was in production in different intervals, 1915 to 1919, 1926 to 1929, and then 1929 to somewhere around 1936, and then again from 1951, and then stopped production in 1956. Some of the details I found are a little bit vague, but they are better than nothing. The ore body of the area, in a pegmatite primary host rock, was said to be about 6,000 feet long and approximately 3 feet wide, and over 250 feet deep. Now if you're just walking up this way, minding your own business, and then all of the sudden, oh my goodness sake. Look at those. Wow. Now, for the sake of this being an epic shot, we had to back up with the drone just a little bit. But think about it. If you were driving down this road and you didn't exactly know what you were looking for or what you were going to see, coming around a corner, out of the trees, to this beautiful abandoned mine, would that not shock you? Every time I see this view, I'm just amazed and enamored of how awesome it truly looks. This is honestly one of the best preserved abandoned mine sites I have seen in Arizona. The only thing that I couldn't find is when the head frame and the ore dump chute were first put up. From what I have seen in the past from other mines, I don't believe that the wood that is standing here is over 100 years old. But I am still in awe that it is standing. The Black Pearl mine had a mixture of workings, including open stopes, short adits, shallow shafts, drifts, and of course the primary shaft of over 155 feet deep. Also, from the amount of water in the shaft, I can only imagine the water issues that they had while they were mining here productively. And another fun fact, this mine produced over 62,000 pounds of tungsten. This is the gigantic head frame. This mine shaft here goes down over 150 feet deep, and the workings were told to have drifts of over 700 feet in any given direction. They go all over the place and they honeycomb underneath. There's still one adit that's available to go inside and see, but we'll go see that in a second. Every time that I've been here just for fun, this shaft has always been completely full of water, all the way up here. But right now, the water is about 20 feet down. Gosh, I wish I had a string for my GoPro and a waterproof housing with me, and then I could have sent it down there. But I don't, it's okay. I need like a flashlight, some other things, just so that I can actually see how far this goes in. I've always wanted to jump in there with my scuba diving gear. Dan says it's a little bit dangerous and he doesn't want me to die. I don't think I would die, but if I did get in trouble, that could be a little sketchy. But I'd still have a rope around me. So it's possible that I could do it someday. I'm clearly not going to do it today though. Woo! The tracks were right here too. They came all the way out this direction. This is all crumbled. Straight to that. That is a giant ore collection area. They would have been filling up trucks, tractors, mules, whatever time frame, and sending it out from here. But that's where they would have stockpiled all of their ore. The tracks came out this general direction as well. Oh, the whole ground is covered with things that are going to give you tetanus. If they ran this direction, somewhere off down the hill. No idea why. I believe that this was an assay shack. Now, if you look inside of it, there was this smallest little area that was maybe a sink. This is a drilled out hole. It goes all the way through there. It could have had some kind of a faucet or water, something or other. There's not really another reason to have a shack this close to right what they were doing because, or I was going to say, I know that this is not the outhouse because there is an outhouse. I'll go show that to you. And it's a little ways over there, hidden off in the bushes, somewhere where they couldn't smell everything. And then right around the corner from this, there's giant tracks that go this direction. Part of this was caved in. Part of this is the actual workings for the mine over there. This goes up to an open portion of the attic. Actually, this entire area that I'm sitting in right now is a caved in portion of the attic. You can see there's huge quartz veining where tons of pyrite has been weathered out, and that's why you get this beautiful leach cap, nasty, crusty stuff. You've got great veins right here with mica in them, in the quartz, in the country rock. And then you have this really cool little attic right here. Don't know necessarily if it's worth going into, but make sure for the critter factor. Now, it looks like there's another portion of this that opens up. You can see back there, all around, this pile of dirt right here means that it came from up there. Let's see. I can get in there a little bit further. Daylight. But over right there, there's some old wood and workings, and then it just dead ends right back there. But one of the cool things about this particular adit area is that it keeps going back, and I'll show you an area that's collapsed that I believe was part of the inner workings of the main shaft. I'm gonna hike up this hilly area. To show you this guy right here. This dot's back that direction, but this is all part of a caved in adit. This guy right here, you can see how it stops, but it's all just because it's caved in. And then it goes up this direction. Again, all of this not competent rock. How scary would that be to be inside of this mine and start seeing it collapse? Who knows at what point in time it was collapsing? I wouldn't want to be part of it. Let's see. I'm gonna have to, can I get through this little tree area? Try not to get snagged. But this whole thing keeps running up the hill. This is a giant vein of ore that they would have been following. It's super sad that the entire thing collapsed. This would have been a great walkthrough. Let's see. Bummer. It still continues to stop. Let's see if by chance there's a little area right around the corner up the hill. If I'm lucky. Nope. Looks like this is all caved in as well. Sometimes behind bushes you get lucky, you know, find something interesting. But it looks like they just followed the vein right up this area. They were prospecting through these areas. Looks like they had a water collection tower up there, or tank, not necessarily tower. Look at all of this yellow ore, or at least the yellow staining. This all came from pyrite that's leaching out. So even though they were getting tungsten in this area, I'm quite positive they also would have been getting gold just from the type of rock and mineral indicators that are all over the ground. Now that we've walked around the mine site just a little bit, let's go check out some of the living quarters. Unfortunately, not all of the buildings are standing, but this one is in pretty good shape. Relatively speaking anyways. But I think that there is a unique feature to this building. So let's go inside and get a little bit closer and take a look. I love all of the old junk everywhere. Anybody who's watched my other YouTube videos knows that I absolutely love all the trash piles, but all the infrastructure here, from the ore chute, the head frame to the assay shaft, to the old abandoned buildings that the miners were staying in. This is so cool because it's all filled with all kinds of rust and metal, glass, and old wood framing. And look at this, it still has the old concrete steps. Isn't that cool? No, this is pretty neat. You've got the old windows. Maybe they didn't want the sunlight to come in. I mean, I'm pretty tall, but that is, you have to do quite a lot of stretching to see out. Maybe they just didn't want anybody in here, but I'm thinking that this wasn't a place where they were sleeping, and the reason the windows are so high is because this was one of their bathrooms. And the reason for it is I think that this was a big shower. These were shingles and stuff that were up above, but it makes sense because that's a drain. So, with that theory, this would have either been a giant bathtub or a communal shower. Ugh, gross. But I guess a bunch of dudes together would be like a locker room, right? You guys just don't care if you throw and junk around. Anyways, if that's the case, maybe there was a toilet here, who knows? Maybe this was a giant kitchen area. This was clearly some form of a door. Let's see. Please don't scare me. Definitely a door. But there's nothing significant underneath it. I mean, there's a pipe that's right there that you can see. Again, windows that were too tall. Maybe this had a giant shower curtain around it, who knows? This looks like the other part of a door frame. I mean, I don't know, I love it. I think it's amazing. I think it's totally awesome. I am still waiting though, however, to find some kind of, I don't know, miner's like stash. Something that they would have hidden somewhere that I can go out and find. But taking a metal detector to a place like this would just go beep, 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 beep. It would be nuts. I don't think I could handle the amount of just, oh, that's a piece of metal. Oh, that's a piece of metal. Maybe someday I can come back and figure it out. But it's so cool that they have just a bunch of trash. I don't appreciate the more modern people that have been here with their Solo cups and their beer bottles and stuff like that. That's not cool. I'm talking about the rusted garbage areas. That sets me. This is cool, guys. Wait, let me check it out. I mean, this is just one of their dump piles. I mean, these are huge, huge pieces of pyrite. I mean, they're just giant. In situ, in court. You're not gonna be able to see it that close. But, so cool. This is one of their dump trucks, probably so that it could get ore from that big old chute over there. That is a really pretty angle. Look at that. That's gorgeous, isn't it? Isn't that awesome? Anyways, this little teeny tiny guy right here was considered big for this mine. Back if they were using this in the 30s and 40s and whatnot, right before the mine closed, because this mine originally was discovered in the 1800s. Anyways, this whole truck would have been considered huge for back then. If you think about it, if they're using a burro or something like that, you can't get very much material on a burro. However, this haul truck for them would have been gigantic. Now this haul truck might be maybe 2 tons, if you're lucky. The current mine that I was working at has trucks that will hold 260 tons. So if we're talking by volume, if you're gonna stack this truck up, one of those haul trucks could easily, without crushing this down, hold about 50 of these guys. And other mines have haul trucks that are around the 400-ton range. That's gigantic. So this guy, this is a yard ornament in comparison to the stuff that they have nowadays. This one is just little bitty, and it's so cute. And yes, I use that term for everything. Rocks, haul trucks, old buildings, mine shafts, mine head frames, everything's cute. But these are so cool. And just the fact that they would have had one of these up here, even if they had one, was probably a huge feat for back then. This probably cost them a fortune. This guy right here is pretty cool. This is probably a seat. So, you know, this would have been one of those things where you're bouncing along so that when the haul truck got like loaded up, you kind of bounced around a little bit, but you were in maybe a tad bit of comfort. I wish the chassis was still here with the engine in it. That would be pretty cool. But this mine is pretty ancient because all that stuff down there, maybe part of it's all washed down the hill, who knows? But we're gonna go that direction because I know that there is the powder shack over there. So let's go check it out. Okay guys, so right over here is the powder shack for the mine. Powder shacks would have been kept really, really far away from any portion of active mining, because if this thing blew up, it means it blew up people, it blew up part of whatever they were mining. It could have been extremely scary. However, this right here is naturally fortified because of this giant granite boulder here and this giant granite boulder. If you come inside of it, let's just make sure there's nothing like real creepy. You have an old wasp nest. Oh, nothing that looks like it's going to really get us. So, if you come inside, this portion of it is just the giant granite boulder. This side, they've concreted in. However, the boulder's just right on the other side. And then all of this has been fortified, and I stand 5'9", so that's about how tall it is if I don't bend over. Anyways, I don't want to hit my head, so I stay stooped because, ugh, gross, nasty. I don't like them, they're disgusting, they can all die. Anyways, so this is pretty neat. They put this in an area where they knew it was going to be strong. If anything happened, anything detonated, it would have gone poof, and that's it. Nothing would have gotten horribly damaged. The top would have blown off, that's it. But they did a good job. They handled their explosives correctly. Otherwise, this still wouldn't be standing. This would have been in pieces.
So the head frame is back here, right? The buildings are back over there. Ore chute or stockpile is right there. Walking this direction from the mine is the outhouse. Now, it is said that old timers used to bury treasure in here. Used to throw away old bottles because, I don't know, maybe they just got a kick out of having a drink while they were plopping one down. Not exactly sure. I might have taken the wrong trail.
Yep, I definitely think we took the wrong trail. Oh well.
Okay,
Oh.
almost there, sorry. This is a way more distinctively clear path. As you can see, oh, there's an old timber right there too. See, stuff like that makes me leery. Or just curious, why was it there?
Check out this survey marker right by your foot.
Look at that. That's cool.
Interesting.
Anyways. Alright. Oh, there's some spider webs. Oh, cute little lizards. Hey guys. Hey guys.
Alright, most of it's full of pine cones. Not terrible bad. Didn't bring my flashlight. That is in a different area, but could you imagine? Just making sure there's nothing like in it. Plopping down on this, and da-da-da, splinters. I bet they had some massive splinter issues. I mean, this doesn't look well taken care of. Maybe they have little seat covers, who knows? But this is where they did their business. Just thought y'all should know. It's fascinating. It's part of history, right? They even had a floor. Well, looks like this one had like tree things sticking out of it, but they did such a great job at this little building. And what's really cool is the wood gives it such a great aesthetic everywhere. Another little lizard. Oh, we go back here. Ow. You can kind of see. Ooh. Who knows? Maybe they moved it forward. Maybe they moved it backwards at one point in time. But there's definitely more lumber over here. As well as what I think they call pineapple cactus, which is kind of cool. Apparently that's endangered in Arizona, so don't worry. Anyways, what they should have done is turn this entire thing around, cut out a window, and that way they could have had a view as they did their business. I don't know what this is, but it's pretty cool. It's kind of like a very, very rusted jungle gym, to say the least. Maybe it was used for storage. Maybe some kind of infrastructure for who knows what. But it is kind of cool to just bounce around on. There is pyrite all over the ground up here. This is arsenopyrite, which means it has, this is arsenopyrite, which means it has arsenic in its chemical structure. It also gives it more of like that silvery sort of color. And no, this is not gonna hurt you just because it has arsenic in it. You would have to eat a bunch of it in order for it to hurt you. Look how cool it is. You get beautiful pieces in the quartz. And it's all over the place. There's just tons of it. Tungsten mines have a lot of really cool minerals in them. And especially this one has a ton of post-mineralization. So you get a bunch of these pieces. This is great rock hounding and collecting. Oh wow, look at those. That's a big one too. These clean up really nice. These pieces are pretty awesome. I do a lot of collecting of pyrite up here just because it's in such good condition. Surprisingly, like you can see the amount of yellow quartz there is on the ground. Now the yellow quartz means that the pyrite was weathering out, creating its own sulfuric acid. Gives it that yellow color, and it also smells kind of stinky. Kind of smells like rotten eggs a little bit. Yeah, it's not the most pleasant. But the pyrite's so cool because it's everywhere. It's like you're walking on little flicks of fool's gold. Being weathered out. Oh my gosh, how cool. Look at that. You can actually see where the pyrite cubes have weathered out because of meteoric water or rainwater that has been flowing through the ground. But look at that, and it's so heavy. This is the beautiful amount of pyrite that we're getting. There's some normal pyrite and there's some arsenopyrite. So cool. Oh, we have some molybdenum on this guy. Looks pretty fantastic. No good trip is great without a beverage. FYI. You guys can take it or leave it. Doesn't matter to me. I can't believe how much pyrite is just all over the ground. And this is just the dump pile. All you have to do is look around for it and pick it up off the ground. It's everywhere. So as many minerals as there are kind of on the ground everywhere, you are hoping to find stuff that is pretty cool. Look at this guy. This is another piece of blue microcline. See that really pretty, just light blue color? A lot of people will fashion blue microcline into different parts of jewelry because it's so pretty. I'd love to dig some more stuff up and find something that's just a little bit deeper blue and maybe has that perfect microcline structure cleavage to it. This is another one of those things that I came out here to find, guys, is blue microcline, which is the only blue feldspar mineral. Isn't that pretty? Super cool. So glad I found this. All right, guys, another one of the cool things that you can find here at the Black Pearl Mine is awesome muscovite. You know, the primary use for muscovite is actually women's makeup. Eyeshadow has this in it, guys. If you didn't already know it, you could make your own. This right here is molybdenite, guys. This is usually a byproduct in a copper porphyry. This is really cool. They use molybdenum for surgical steel. It's one of those things that keeps scalpels extremely sharp. They also use it for an industrial lubricant. And it seems like this mine here at the Black Pearl had absolutely everything.
This is her looking for rocks. If I don't stop her at some point, she'll stay doing this until it's dark and it's only noon. This will go on for days and days.
Oh, cool.
See? Found something blue, maybe.
So before leaving the main site near the head frame, I just wanted to get an overview of all the junk that I absolutely love to look at and just the surrounding area while I launch the drone and take it up to the top of the hill to see if there's anything up there that I should be exploring. But the massive amount of dump piles down here are fascinating because each one of those holds all those awesome minerals. And the view, I can't get enough of it. I actually want to come up here and camp someday. It'd be pretty spooky. Anyways, flying the drone up the hill, from the head frame all the way up that vein, there is another hole punched in the ground. And this one looks like it goes fairly deep. And I believe it probably continues up the hill as well. Okay guys, from the drone video, we could see that there was another opening to that entire area that I was looking at before. And I didn't fully walk up to it, but this thing looks deep. Whoa! Holy crap! We are definitely gonna throw something in there. Hang on. This has some blue microcline in it, but it's the only rock available. Hold on to me. Wow, that's not shallow. I'm gonna try to get over to that other ridge and see what it looks like from over there. Whoa, check that out. So that is not that deep. Go ahead. It just stops right there. So that isn't too terrible deep. However, I'm betting that this kind of ballroomed out and the adit ran back this way and down that entire seam that we had walked up earlier. Because if you see just down there, we are right in line with the head frame. So this could have been one of those many of drifts that came out of the main shaft of the head frame. And we're only just seeing a piece of it. Just one teeny tiny small little fraction of what was actually mined. And this is just one little tiny area. It collapsed, and that is so unconsolidated. That is such a scary looking hole right now. That is so incredibly cool. Look at the quartz vein that they would have been following with that beautiful, beautiful staining. Say hi, Dan. Hi. This is fantastic though. That is so incredibly cool to see. Yeah. That's what a drone is good for. Well, one of the many things that it's good for is that you can see those little tiny things that you can't go and hike up to, or maybe you don't know if you should hike up to, so it saves you an enormous amount of time just wandering around in the wilderness doing nothing. And in the spirit of not wandering around in the middle of nowhere doing nothing, we took the drone video up just a little bit further across the dirt road, and there's a whole nother cut up here, which confirms even further that they were following an ore vein. And this was probably another part of the adit that was collapsed. And this would make even more sense of why there are 700 foot of drifts in this mine, and the longest adit is over 1,500 feet long. Since we're up here, I figured I might as well walk over to this storage tank just to see if there's anything cool up here on this flat area. Sometimes you never know what you find, and you never know without looking. So check it out, that long pipe, it goes back all the way into this storage tank. Look at that view! Yeah! Where we just came from, and that whole giant adit area that was collapsed is right down there in line with that head frame. Yeah! check this out. If you look at the Arizona landscape, you can see all of these mountains and hills in the background. Each one of those different peaks that are rounded are actually old ancient volcanoes. Each one of those is what spewed out millions of years ago all of the lava that you see making up the mesas. And you can see these ridge lines that go all the way along that are straight, that are just daylighting along. Those are the ridge lines of mesas that these old volcanoes left. This is part of my finds, guys. These are pretty cool. We've got pyrite, arsenopyrite, microcline, blue microcline, might I add. These are so cool. So I stacked them all here so that I can grab them before I leave. And there's one giant big one that I'm going to dig up out of the ground and throw in the back of the side-by-side before I get out of here. These are so cool. Now I'm going to dig this big guy out of the ground. Oh, blue. Hang on, I'm going to put that away. Oh my goodness sake. Oh wow, this whole thing is nothing but a giant piece of pyrite on quartz. Total score, this is so cool. Okay. Oh my gosh. Now, one more thing before we leave. We have to check out this amazing ore chute. I seriously can't get over how epic this area really is. And the cloud cover today makes it even more special just because it makes it even more dynamic. Now let's go check it out. This whole area right here again, this was a whole nother track, I believe. It could have been something set up for just a road maybe, so that people could get over here. But I think that the road came along like that so that people could pull underneath this. They could pull a lever, load up one of those little bitty trucks, and then haul out. Look how cool that is. All of these old timbers, I'm just surprised that it's still standing. It's in such great shape. Look how thick they are. This is fantastic. Look, all these little areas underneath here. And look, you still have tracks that probably washed out from underneath or something. But oh my gosh. This whole area, we're so lucky that it's still standing. Because it's stunning. Old structures like this, I hope they can stand as long as possible. Nobody gets to see this, which is insane sometimes. Wow. This is breathtaking. I just wanted to give a huge shout out to all of my Patreons. You guys have made making my videos so much easier. It's a lot for every creator to go out and to do something. And one of the easiest ways for you guys to support us is just by subscribing, liking our videos, and commenting. But to that extra level of support that you guys show me on my Patreon, thank you so much. You have no idea what it means to me. Guys, thank you so much for coming along with me to the Black Pearl Mine. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you again so much for being part of my adventure. And I'll see you on the next one. Look at that. Really blue microcline. Holy cow, that is really pretty. Lucky, just walking away, leaving this beautiful area, and ta-da! That's so cool.